Up until now, they've trusted Arteta, as Martin said. What now? Now what you didn't do was give Solskjaer your backing, but you gave Arteta your backing. Do you still feel that way?
No, I don't. To be fair, I've watched him. I think Martin's a little bit generous. I think that they were dreadful against Burnley earlier on in the season. They were dreadful against Aston Villa earlier on in the year when they got beat 3-0. And they went on this dreadful run. So this notion that they've been supporting Arteta, this conversation is a circular one. He was put under scrutiny at the very beginning of this season and around about October, November, December time because they were really poor. I'm beginning to be concerned that I'm not sure anymore that he's got it. I thought he did. I thought all of the furore about him coming in, the unequivocal positioning of the way he spoke to the media, he's very brave in some of the things he says. I think he had definite views. And I think that Arsenal obviously picked up a cup last year, which gave us all a feeling that they were in ascendancy. I don't think that the idea that Aubameyang should be captain is the right one. I think if you're going to judge him, then you should perhaps play him in his right position.
What do you think of him?
Not a lot, really. I think at times he's an outstanding footballer, but I think he embodies the modern day footballer. I think he needs a constant reassurance and reformation of his, of his identity. I think all the nonsense in the summer with egg timers and all that sort of stuff got on my nerves a little bit. As a goal scorer, I think at times he's been outstanding. He came over here with a reputation that he was a playboy, and that was all kicked into the long grass because he did so well for Arsenal. And now we're seeing another side of this player. When the going gets tough, he seems to be absent. But it doesn't help that he's being played in a position that's not best suited to him. But if he's a world-class player, he should be able to adapt. I don't think he's a captain. I think that's flawed. I think perhaps someone like Kieran Tierney would be a better captain for that particular side. But I'm just worried that Arteta is a little bit more style and not enough substance. And I like him. I like the way he speaks, but it's beginning to become a bit repetitive. And you can only say the same thing so many times before people start to say, like they do with Mourinho for different reasons, that there's a common denominator here. The difference with Mourinho, he can back it up with the track record. That's what you look at. Brian Clough once said once upon a time, look at my track record, it's unarguable with. Right? You can't argue with Mourinho's track record.
But you've changed your tune in Arteta. Was the FA Cup win papering over the cracks?
Well, yeah, I think it was as much about Chelsea not doing what they could have done in that game as it was about Arsenal doing what they needed to have done. And Aubameyang was on form, playing in a position that he should have been playing in and took the game away from Chelsea. But by the same token, you're looking at Arsenal now saying, we've got a coach that is he going to fall into the same category that I think he is now, which is he going to bridge this gap, bring Arsenal back to where they need to be? And I don't think he is. I'm not sure that what we've got with Arteta anymore is someone that's got the ability to do what's required at Arsenal. Now, that is a really difficult job because I think Arsenal as a football club are a little bit dysfunctional. They've got an ownership. They've got a history that makes everyone look at Arsenal going, this is the mighty Arsenal, but they've got an ownership that doesn't have the same sentiment. So what was once before is no longer there at Arsenal. You don't have Martin Keown. You don't have the famous back four and the goalkeeper and the centre midfield players and the Thierry Henrys and Robin van Persie's of the world anymore. You have Pepe.
Yeah.
You have players like that.
Yeah.
And they're not going to get you where you need to go. And then you've got a newbie coach that's fighting against a stream of a lack of football intelligence, I think, that operates at Arsenal at times in their ownership criteria, with Stan Kroenke more interested in the Colorado Rapids and the LA Clippers, and Arsenal being an arm's length subsidiary for an American business. That means that you've got to have, unless you're going to say, we're going to go into a cycle for quite a period of time whilst Arteta learns his trade and learns his trade and learns his trade and eventually becomes the real deal. Because if you expose somebody enough to something, if they're good enough, they'll get there in the end. Yeah. I'm beginning to question whether Arteta is going to do that. Well, I wasn't like that before.
No, you weren't. And all you have to do is look at that Premier League table. I mean, we've been saluting West Ham, and quite rightly. Arsenal won 12 and 30, the 10th.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, Simon, what are they doing?
The same points as Leeds, yeah.
32 points behind Manchester City.
Yeah. Well, that's an unfair comparison because, quite frankly, Manchester City are in a very different financial and different position with a nailed-on, bona fide, fully rounded coach and not someone learning their trade with a bigger budget than Arsenal have got and a better platform. He's in, I think if you put Arteta in Man City, you'd still find Man City at the top of the pyramid.
Does Arteta start next season with Arsenal?
Oh, look, I mean, I don't want to get into the sack race. I don't like all that sort of scenario. But he's finding it challenging. If they stay in 10th in the league and don't progress in Europe any further, then they're in a real conundrum, aren't they? Because they've got no European revenue next season. They've got nothing to base any confidence upon. Why would you? Why, in football terms, why would you?
Right. No, I get your point completely.